Hi, welcome to the Crafts channel. My name's Corinne Brad and today I'd like to show you how you can use plastic pom-pom makers to make cute bunnies like this. It's very simple. You need a pair of pom-pom makers and they come in two halves to make it so much easier to take them apart. And they open up into like a W shape. Now, if you're of a similar generation to me, you would have made pom-poms with cardboard donuts and you used to have to thread the yarn through the centre of it. It took ages. It's a much simpler way of doing it with these. I'd suggest you use a DK yarn. It makes a nice fluffy pom-pom. And all you need to do is simply hold your pom-pom makers together with two fingers and put a couple of wraps of yarn around it. And while you're doing the first wraps, I'm just going to slide these up towards the hinge. While you're doing the first wraps, don't pull the yarn too tight because what happens is as you build up the layers of yarn on your pom-pom, the circumference that you're winding around gets thicker and thicker and thicker. So if you wind these too tightly, by the time you've come to the end of your pom-pom, the yarn around it is so much longer, you'll end up with an oval shape when you trim it down. And what we want is a nice rounded pom-pom, like this. And I'm just going to speed up a little bit. And then I'll show you how you wrap the other half of it. So there we go, we've wrapped half of the pom-pom maker. And you don't need to fill it up so that it's so thick that you can't close the thing. Take the end of it, just flip it over and wrap the other half in exactly the same way. So bear with me while I wrap this. So we've nearly completed it, just a few more winds of your yarn and then close it up and you use the little plastic clips here to snap it into place, like so. Trim the end of your yarn and then cut yourself a nice long length to tie around the middle. Don't be stingy, you want more length than less. And what you need to do is, I'm not going to use those scissors because they're very small and they'll take ages. I'm actually going to use these scissors. You can see that there's a gap. You need to put the blade of your scissors in between the gap and while you're holding it with your thumb and middle finger, just snip and don't try and snip too much yarn at one time because all you'll do is you'll go off centre and you will end up with a lopsided pom-pom. And there's nothing worse than a lopsided pom-pom because it takes so much trimming to get it looking smooth and even again. Just little snips. And don't forget to cut that bit where you took the yarn from one half of the pom-pom maker to the other. Turn it around, keep your fingers in the middle and snip. Last little bit there. Oh, try not to pull the yarn out of your pom-pom as you're snipping it. So you've now cut all of the ends and if you lay it down carefully, get your yarn, pop it in the gap and what I'd suggest you do is rather than tie a knot immediately, take it around again so that it's wrapped around about 3 times in the middle before you then try and knot it. The reason that is what it does is it squeezes it in gradually. You've got less chance of breaking the yarn and also it means that you've just got a much nicer, it pulls it in much better, pulls it into the middle much better. So a single knot there and then you can wind it round again, do yourself a double knot. You can knot it as many times as you like. I mean, I always like to make sure that there's at least 3 or 4 knots holding this together. so that if, God forbid, it should break, you've not got loads of loose ends of yarn. So that will do. Leave yourself long ends and just simply undo the clips, and then it opens out to reveal your pom-pom. As I say, a really simple way of doing it. And then all you need to do is you will find that there are a few straggly ends. So you just need to give it a bit of a haircut, like this. So, let me just dust my tabletop. Here are two that I've made already. This is the small one, and this is made with the larger pom-pom maker. It's about 7 centimetres in diameter. To make the rabbit, you want to tie these two pom-poms together, and don't pull it really tight because you don't want a little rabbit that's hunched up, but you want a certain amount of movement on its head so that you can position it. That's a bit too loose, unfortunately. Let's just undo that knot a minute. There you go. There you go. So his head is firmly attached to his body. And I'm just going to trim those ends, like so. And then what you need to do is get some coloured felt, and I've cut out a little, almost like a tulip shape from felt, and I've also got a penny. There is a reason for this penny. Because your bunny's got a head on it, sometimes if you want him to stand upright, he will tip over a little bit. So just use a dab of fabric glue on that felt to pop the penny on, and a dab of fabric on that penny to pop your rabbit's bottom on, like this. And the penny should stop him falling over. Now he is going to tip over at the minute because that glue's not dry. So while it's drying, I'll just show you, if you get a awl tool and just make it, actually that, you can use your finger for this. Make a gap at the rabbit's bottom. Grab some glue, put a little drop of glue in there, and get a little pre-made pom-pom. These small pom-poms I suggest you buy because to make something this small would be so fiddly you would be climbing the walls. But it would just pop on the back there so you've got a little bottom. Drunken rabbit. And then I've just made a pair of ears from 2 colours of felt. So they're simply leaf shapes glued onto bigger leaf shapes. And I quite like a bunny with his ears that go back. So I'm going to make a parting in his hair, and then a bit of glue on the back of the ear, pop it in there and squeeze that parting together. Same with the other ear. And you don't need a lot of glue. I mean, this is a special fabric glue from Gutermann that I tend to use for most things now because it's quick and it sticks. And but if you make a mistake, you can't then get it off particularly easily. Pop that in there. So then you've got your little bunny with his ears. And then to make the eyes, now you can either use plastic safety eyes and pop them in there. I have made eyes with small beads and florist wire. I'll just show you very quickly how to make these. So if you get your florist wire, let's just move him to one side. And you get a small bead. Now this is about 5mm in diameter, a small plastic round bead. Thread it onto the wire and bend the wire like so. And then if you get yourself a pair of pliers, hold the 2 ends of the wire and then just twist this bead like so. As you can see, these are very well used pliers by the amount of rust that's on them. And then a little pair of wire cutters just to cut the shank down to the right height. And then again, apply some glue to the shank. Let's have a look at my bunny's face. And I'm going to put his eyes, one in there, and squeeze up the yarn. Now actually this is such a dark shade of blue, you can't see these black eyes, but you will see his little pink nose in a minute. There's another eye that I made earlier. Oh, pop that in there. And again, the nose is made in exactly the same way, but with a pink pearl. And we'll just pop his nose down there. So there you go, there's your little bunny. And he can join all his other bunny friends. There's a little fawn pink one here. And all of these are made in exactly the same way, but all you do is you just adjust where you put their ears, how you put the feet on so that the angle of their head is different. They're very simple to make. As you can see, they're very quick to make. What I would suggest, if you're making them for a child, do use safety eyes. Don't use the wire and beads. But if you're just having them as little ornaments on a shelf, these will be absolutely fine. So I hope you enjoyed that demonstration. We will be with you again soon. If you'd like more information about where to get these pom-pom makers, please have a look at the description below, and we will see you next time. If you've been inspired to create, please share your makes with us in the comments section below. And if you've enjoyed videos by the Crafts channel, hit the like button. Want to see more of us? Then click subscribe. See you next time.